Good morning, everyone. How are we doing? It is Friday for me. As usual, I have no idea what day it is you guys are seeing this on, but I hope it's either a wonderful Friday or a wonderful day in general. Got some fun stuff to talk to you about this morning. I was watching this video by the Dry Creek Wrangler School, who are quickly becoming like more and more the inspiration behind these videos. I use Sam Sulek as the hashtag because hashtag Dry Creek Wrangler School is kind of long, and I don't know if it would yield the same kind of pull that his name would, so no offense to you guys, but they do have some very profound content. And like this morning particularly, I saw this video and like the title itself grabbed me, and that's something that I'm really hoping to capture with my videos, is to have just interesting titles where it's like, I wonder what in the world is he talking about. So today's video was study like you eat Chinese food, and I was trying to figure out what in the world that would be like, because like for me, like I eat boatloads of Chinese food. Like when I eat Chinese or when I go out for Chinese, I order like 6 entrees and I eat them all in one setting and feel like a giant Snorlax just gobbling down food. And so I was like, what on earth could this guy mean by this video? And I'm not going to summarize his video here. You should just go and watch it. It's a great video. But like essentially the kind of lessons that he breaks down in that one is the idea of judging someone shortly. And this is a quote that I've pulled from one of the Dark Picture anthology games, actually. It is a quote from something else, but I know it from that game. But the idea is never judge anyone shortly. Every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. And so basically, like, what it means is like, don't judge a person for just one portion of who they are, or just one instance of how you've experienced them. You will have bad experiences with the greatest people in your life, and you will have great experiences with the worst people in your life. And that is the oddity of the world that we exist in, and that is how those kinds of roles play out. And so to just shut down your opinions of somebody based upon like the first time you have a bad experience with them is doing them and yourself a great disservice. Like, there has been plenty of people both in my professional and personal life where like my first thought and impression of them has not been a great first thought and impression. And if I'm being honest, I have found that my first impressions are most often accurate, and I usually should like go by those first thoughts. Like if my gut is like, ugh, this person, you're not gonna get along with them, my gut's usually right. But just because I don't get along with the person doesn't mean that I should just shut them down instantaneously and not entertain any thoughts or ideas that they might have. A classic example of this is like the highest up person in the hierarchy where I work presently. They hired this individual during a particularly rough time, and there was immediately just a bad taste in my mouth, and I was like, ugh, like I don't know how I feel about this individual being hired right now. And so I never really worked with the individual. Like, they were hired in and everybody was like, yay, congratulations, look at this, we're doing all this stuff, but we were able to hire the highest paid person in this whole department. And all in all, it was just not a great time. And so fast forward a couple of years, and the first time that I ever interact with this person is in an interview. And obviously I'm interviewing for a promotion. I want to move up in the company. I want to do something bigger, better. And it was an interesting interview, to say the least. It was hardly an interview. It was mostly just a conversation between the two of us. And that was like the first time I'd actually interacted with the person. So I had allowed myself to have this foul taste in my mouth towards this person for really no good reason outside of my own jealousies, perhaps. And I finally sat down and had a conversation with them. I was like, you know what, it's not so bad. We might have something going on here. Well, fast forward, so that interview was probably in 21 or something to that nature. And fast forward from there, and I've now accepted several promotions. I work directly with this person very often, and obviously we are not like clones of each other, but we work very well together and we get stuff done, and we can trust each other to do things that need to be done. And that's just a very vague example of like not judging someone shortly, so to speak, just as the phrase might suggest. Like, just because the circumstances of their hire may be questionable does not mean that you cast aside anything that they could have to offer you, because what they could have to offer you could be great. And like, saying what they have to offer you should be cast aside even makes it sound like the only reason I'm entertaining conversations with this person is because they're offering me something. Like, that's not a healthy way to be. That's not absolutely how I am or how I have meant that to be interpreted. But like, at the end of the day, he did have a lot to offer me, and I continue to be thankful for that. So just understanding the general prowess of people and how we interact as people and how we should choose to be interacted with as people, if that makes sense. And it was, like I said, fascinating video. I can't talk enough about how good of a video that was and exactly just how it impacted me. And like, it's in an unexpected way too, because like, I didn't turn on his videos. Like, his videos are fun to watch and like very informative and good videos, but I don't oftentimes find myself moved by much of anything. And that video moved me, and I was like, that's good. Like, it's not something that I oftentimes experience, so when I do experience it, I take note. So that was what was up with that. Like I said, y'all should go check that out. I highly recommend it. But just know that when you're interacting with people or you're meeting people or whatever, just never judge them shortly. Like, you can always have good out of bad or bad out of good. And like, it doesn't mean that you have to be the person's best friend. You don't have to just all of a sudden be like, all right, we're besties now because we had this one good experience. Like, no, like, if you guys historically didn't get along, but you found like one common ground that you could get along on, like, great. But that doesn't mean you guys got to go after work, hang out and have beers or whatever it is you do. Like, that's not necessary either. And so it's just an interesting thing to try and like look over and experience and all that fun stuff. Coming to work pretty early this morning. I've got a half day ahead of me. I'm going to be heading out around 10 o'clock. And so I don't have a lot of time to be doing a lot. Like, normally I'd be rolling in at like 7, and that only gives me like 3 hours, 7, 8, 9, 9 to 10, yeah. And that's like, at that point, like, why even come in? So I'm heading in a little early. It's still dark out if you guys can't tell. I bet you can, because all you see is my face. And the only reason you see my face is because the light is on. Anyway, it's still night out. It'll probably stroll in sometime around 6 this morning. That way I get a full half day out of it. Knock out some stuff. But man, do I have a very exciting day ahead of me, and productive on a personal account. I'm going to call Audible and try and sort out my audiobook. I have a meeting with the animators regarding the next stage of the animation. I got characters and storyboards back, and so we're going to see what our next steps are from there. I've discussed this before, but I'm going to hope to at least get characters and a pitch deck from them. I think that would be really cool. And then from there, I'm trying to figure out what I've got. So much going on. I gotta buy some Christmas presents for my work folk. So, and like, this is kind of interesting because I am wondering if my work folk are planning something. I gotta not a suspicious text in a bad way, but a suspicious text like, what are you guys planning, kind of thing, from one of the people that report to me. And so that feels pretty good. But now it's like a race, because of course I have all of their gifts. I've already bought them, and I've filmed the video of me packaging them up with you guys. But I was going to give it to them the week before I went on vacation, which is not next week, but the week after. And so they could potentially give me my gift before I give them their gift. And then I don't want my gift to feel like I'm giving it only in response to their gift, which is crappy, but that's not the case. Like, I had planned to give them a gift all along, just a matter of, I guess, who gives it first. And then that like creates the stressors of like Christmas and why so many people do not like what the holiday has become. I personally am not a religious individual, so I do not celebrate Christmas for anything religious related. I celebrate it for the commercial holiday, but I try and celebrate it in a healthy way. Like, yes, there is a lot of spending money and things that go around the commercial side of Christmas, but there's also a lot of like good messages behind it as well, like the spirit of giving and like the general kindness that a lot of like Christmas related material try to convey on people. And that is the kind of like feelings that I want to capture when I celebrate Christmas. Like, you get to the holidays and it's no longer like this idea of, I'm just gonna buy all these people presents and then move on with my life. Like, I try and do nice things for people, and like sometimes they are tied to money, sometimes they're money based, and sometimes they're not money based. And that is like, for me, what I celebrate Christmas is the season of giving and the season of kindness. And like, obviously I'm going to be nice and I'm going to be kind all year round, but I am going to be exceptionally so when the holidays roll around. And so, and like this year we're going on vacation, and as I've understood it, we aren't buying gifts for anybody, and I'm totally cool with that. And so I'm just hoping that like Christmas doesn't roll around and then people buy me a gift anyway, and it's like, guys, we agreed not to do this. And that's where like the yucky pressures of Christmas come in. And it's not that these people buy you gifts expecting something in return either. Like, that's absolutely not the case, but it still creates that mentality of, oh shoot, I didn't give you anything, like now what? And so yeah, I'm just hoping that my gift feels genuine and not like a response to the fact that they're giving me a gift. So hope to, and you know what, maybe I'm just misinterpreting this text entirely and they're not getting me jack squat, and I'm fine with that too. So I'm not expecting anything, and that's honestly the best way to be. Just don't expect something, and then if you get something, be very thankful for it. Showing gratitude is honestly an art form. A lot of people are very bad at showing gratitude, or like they'll try and, I don't even know how to describe it, but they'll try and like one-up it, if you will, and it's just weird. Just be grateful. Like, that's the moral of that story. Like, if someone is kind to you, be grateful for their kindness, and that will go very far, because it is a rare trait. And like I said, I feel like it's almost an art form to be grateful. And so yeah, productive day ahead of me. Every weekend I'm gonna try and edit out and pound out a bunch of videos and just try and keep this going and make this 24/365 a big deal, and try and make it productive and maybe at least halfway as profound as some of the Dry Creek Regular School stuff. Like I said, I don't want to like completely steal their ideas, but it's kind of like a combination of Sam Sulek and them. Like, we talk about a lot of philosophical, profound things here, but like to the same end, it's just like a conversation. And like sometimes we just talk about dumb stuff too. Like, you never even know. Like, I've had plenty of videos where it's just like, oh my gosh, that's a really dumb video. And you know, some people just like having dumb conversations. Not every conversation's got to move a mountain. Sometimes we just talk about things, you know? And that's kind of been like the outstanding thing for me, really, doing these, is just learning how how to be able to conduct a conversation. Now, if you know me and you know anyone who knows me, they know that I'm not shy about being able to talk or have a conversation with people. So that's not necessarily the issue. The issue is that there's not physically someone here to talk to. And so obviously, like when you're working off of someone else, the conversation has a better opportunity to breathe, if you will. But like, as a friend of mine over Xbox kind of reminded me while I was talking to him, like we have many conversations where like I will just be doing 90% of the talking and he's just sitting there listening. And so oftentimes I'll just pretend like I'm talking to that guy and just go on and on and on and on and on and on and pretend like I can hear him listening and be like, okay, yep, there's someone there, there's someone listening to all this jumbled, rambled nonsense, and hopefully they're able to make sense of it themselves. And then it continues to be this good interaction. Hopefully these like morning commutes are good. Like if the actual what am I looking for? If the actual videography behind these videos are lacking, then you'll have to let me know. And we're going to perfect this art form and make it something awesome. I ordered my new camera and I'm supposed to be getting some new music today too. That was another exciting thing. It showed up at the post office in the town that I live, and the post office is literally within walking distance of my house. So it's kind of embarrassing that they didn't just deliver the dang thing, but I'm sure there's checks and balances and it has to stop at every post office and then it has to be checked in and all that good stuff. And so I get it, but it just seems really silly that it's like I could literally walk to this post office. Well, that wasn't good. Had to come to a sudden stop. There is a person in front of me that came to a sudden stop, and my camera ate the dashboard. And now I don't think you guys are broken. Your camera angle is completely jacked up. Oh boy. Where's the little handle there? Alright. Trying to do these fixes while driving is a fun thing. But yeah. Oh boy. Anywho, yes, that is part of driving. Sometimes you have a sudden stop. And when you have a camera in your passenger side, only being held up by a tripod, it's liable to fall. So, at any rate, we are, well, I gotta stop for a minute, so that gives me time to try and revisit this and figure out what we got going on here now. Oy. I don't even know what you guys can and cannot see, if you guys are seeing anything worth seeing. But yeah, so at any rate, doing good stuff. Half day, gonna be a busy day. Keep the time going for everybody. It is a rainy day. I wonder if it's going to be rainy all day. I missed yesterday, which was a rainy day, and I love just being out in the rain. Like, that was one of the biggest things. People will call me crazy because I moved from San Diego, and I tell people I honestly prefer the weather here in Missouri than I do it over there. And the reason why is because I get all four seasons. Like, I get rain, I get snow, I get cold, I get hot, I get it all. And that's awesome because, like, honestly, by the time the cold weather, I am like skittish now. By the time the cold weather is upon us, or like by the time the cold weather has like been here for several months, I'm over it and I'm ready for the heat. And by the time the heat's been here for a couple months, I'm over it and I'm ready for the cool. And like the only environment I could live in that would be perfect, so to say, would be like an environment where it's like it's fall all year round. And unless I can find that environment, this camera angle is jacked up. The show must go on though, and I am living that moniker right now. But at any rate, weather, yes, I like 4 seasons, and I prefer it over having what people would deem as nice weather all year round. because it makes you appreciate the nice weather when it rolls around. And like sunnies and 70s and sometimes 80s is not deemed as nice to me. That's too hot. And so one person's nice is another person's nasty. And that is something worth remembering. So, you all have a great day. My camera angle was all jacked up, but I think we still had a solid filming experience. Thank you all, and I'll see you again.